What's up, everyone? Aaron Schatz here, Editor-in-Chief of ASE Publishing, and today, yes, today, we've got the review of the Rosewill Apollo Mechanical Gaming Keyboard RK-9100xRBR right here. This is review ID 53633. You can check out this and all our reviews by going to www.aselabs.com. However, you don't really need to do that since you're watching this on YouTube or it's embedded in the ASE Labs right now. There's going to be a subscribe button right down here. It'll be like subscribe with a couple of exclamation points. You hit that. You'll be informed of all our video content as we post them on YouTube. If you're on ASE Labs and you want to hit that RSS feed, you're welcome to do that as well. If you want to see text summaries of all our video content, you can check out ASE Labs. We'll post a link in this video right now below. So if you hit the description below, you'll be given a link to the text summary of this review right now. However, since this is a review, let's get started. If you haven't seen the unboxing, I'm going to post it right here. There'll be an annotation box somewhere right here in this. However, I'm going to save you some trouble. You get the keyboard, you get key pullers, you get some replacement keys, you get a wrist rest and some literature and some software that really only works in Windows. Now you don't need to see the unboxing. First thing we're going to do is actually check out the overall look and feel of the 9100xRBR. So basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what makes this keyboard nice. And it's these cherry MX Brown switches. Pretty much any mechanical keyboard is going to have cherry switches of varying colors. The brown switches have a very subdued sound. Now, if you're used to hearing something like the IBM M series, which is a really old keyboard, it had stuff like the Cherry MX Blue switches where you press it and it would make a really loud audible click. These brown switches are not like that. They're subdued, so you can actually use them in an office environment without getting everybody annoyed at you. Now, the other interesting thing about this, compared to like a mechanical keyboard like the G710 Plus that I reviewed in the past, is the keys on this are actually bigger. Now, you might be saying to yourself, oh, that's got to be subjective. I'm going to prove to you that that's not subjective. So here's an E key from the G710 Plus, and I'll pull off the E key from here too. Apples to apples. And you can see that it's actually, I'll zoom in and I'll show you too. Here, look at this. Let's see here, you can see that. So let me just make sure which one. So the E key, so this one right here is the Rosewill, and this one is the Logitech one. You can see that it's actually smaller. The G710 Plus is smaller. So that's something to just know when you actually get a keyboard like this. The key size is actually bigger. I like that a lot. It actually took a little bit to get used to it because I was using the G710 Plus, obviously, but once I got used to it, really great stuff. I like the larger keys on it. Also, the texturing is different than the G710 Plus. This one has like a nice rubbery feel to it. Even though they're both hard plastic, this one has just a rubbery feel. And if you actually change these orange ones over here, these have a rougher feel. So you can actually know haptically when you actually get to them because they actually have a different feel than the other keys on the keyboard. That's actually really interesting and really nice feature. The good thing about this style of keyboard, if you notice, it's basically the same size as a regular standard keyboard, 104 key keyboard. So you don't have any extra desk space you need. There's no extra stuff cluttering the sides of this up. It's basically a standard keyboard that's just mechanical. And I like that about this because not a lot of people have the desk space for this giant gaming keyboard. Even though this is a gaming keyboard, it has anti-ghosting. You can push as many keys as you possibly can. Like, probably not, but I've never noticed a problem pushing as many keys that I needed to in a game. So, like I said, this is a gaming keyboard, works really well for that. The Spacebar, what you'll actually notice on a lot of keyboards, especially non-gaming keyboards, is if you push the Spacebar in the corners, it won't actually push down, it'll like get locked and stuck. This doesn't happen. This is the benefit of using a gaming keyboard. Everything has to work, and this does work. Let me put the G back here. It's really simple. You just pop it back in and just press it pretty hard, and that's it. It's good to go. Let me explain something about mechanical keyboards. So unlike membrane keyboards, where you actually have to push all the way down so the membrane contacts the little contact point and it basically makes a circuit connect, these switches will actually register as soon as you push a little bit down. So it allows you to actually type really quickly compared to a membrane keyboard. And once you get used to a mechanical keyboard, you're going to be like, wow, why have I never had a mechanical keyboard in the past? That's why I love mechanical keyboards. Once you use them, you're going to understand. So really, if you have a chance to use it or a chance to buy one, you should definitely buy a mechanical keyboard. And this is a pretty good one to buy too. Let's take a closer look about the actual extras of the keyboard. So as you can see, that I've already replaced the WASD keys with the orange counterparts. Now if you want to put the black ones back on, you easily can. You just pop the keys off and put it on. The arrow keys, you also get a set of arrow keys as well. So if you want to put the arrow keys in orange, you can do that as well. This keyboard is red backlit. It has 4 modes, basically off, low, medium, and high, and a breathing mode, which I'll show you in a second. If you look at the top of the keyboard here, you have 2 USB connections and audio connections for your microphone and your headset. Now, you can see that there's only 1 USB connection on the keyboard, and then you have the audio pass-through jacks. Now, for the USB connection, these 2 ports are not powered. So if you put something that's high draw in here, something bad might happen. For instance, when I had this plugged into a USB port and I put something else in here, basically the keyboard just turned off. And that might have been due to the port itself or whatever number of things. So if you plug something that's high power into here, just be mindful that it's not going to work, or even worse, your keyboard will just stop working and you have to actually restart your computer, some weird stuff. So plug this into a USB 3 port and you'll actually get a bit more power out of it. I actually have a Logitech G700S mouse that has a receiver. Plugged it in here, works fine, no problem. So if you have a mouse and stuff, you could just plug it in here. You don't have to plug it into your computer anymore. It works just fine as that. If you have a high draw thing, like a removable hard drive, that's probably not going to work too well in here. So you'll probably still have to plug that into your computer directly. The audio connections work just fine. They work as a pass-through, so there's no real anything to talk about that. They work as a pass-through. The other stuff about the keyboard, it has gaming functionality here. However, since I'm running Linux, or you can consider it Steam, it doesn't work. And that's fine. I really never used gaming keys on any keyboard anyway, if they don't work. But what I can tell you is that they actually respond as a certain key combination anyway. So one of them is like some weird delete and stuff. So if you wanted to, you can actually map the keys to do something in your operating system if you needed to. The other stuff that's interesting about this keyboard is that if you notice, there's no dedicated media keys on here. And that's, some people are not going to like that. And I don't like that either that much. I've gotten used to how you actually control media. So like, for instance, a lot of times people are like, okay, I need to have volume controls and a mute button really quickly. So here's how you would do that. So if you notice these keys up here, the function keys, they actually have a secondary thing with this function button. Now that's fine. You hit the function and you hit this key here at the same time, and that'll mute. And then you have the same thing for volume up, down, and some other stuff. Like forward, back, and pause and play. That's fine once you get used to it, but sometimes it would be really nice if there was a volume mute button, just like that. You didn't have to have a combination. You could just hit directly. Just because I find myself, if you answer the phone, you need to mute something real quick, you don't have that option. And for some reason, this function key, I kept thinking like, oh, I should be able to use this key, even though it's the Windows or the super key. I would just like the function. I don't know why. I think the function key would be better here. Again, once you get used to it, it's totally fine. Other than that, all the keys are fairly standard. You have the super key or the Windows key for you Windows users. This function key replaces the secondary super key on this side. It's no big deal. That's why I kept trying to hit this one thinking it was a function key as well. The arrow keys and everything, all the keys feel good. They have a nice travel. They have a nice depression. I don't know what the technical term of that one is when you actually push the key down. Like I said though, a mechanical keyboard will register a press once you actually come even a little bit. So you can actually get to real touch typing very quickly on these types of keyboards. Number pad works extremely well. Like I said, this is a standard layout. You'll really have no trouble getting into this. What I also like is that the layout of this section is standard as well. What you'll notice on a lot of keyboards is they have these weird layouts and stuff, and a lot of games used to use this. I remember when I was playing Free Space 2, these controlled the power distribution and everything. So I like that that's standard. And fairly everything else is standard. Function keys work just fine. All these things up here. So other than the gaming keys that don't really work on Linux. Everything else works right out of the box, no problem. Now I've got this plugged into the computer so I can actually show you how the lights actually work on this. Because that's one of the selling points about a keyboard, especially a mechanically backlit keyboard. You're buying it for the backlighting, so we got to see how that works. So as you can see, right now when you have it just on and it's in its default mode, you're going to see just the, I think this is a numlock light. So the lights are all red, because red's my favorite color, and red is awesome. Now, if you want to increase, so right now all the keys are off. If you want to actually turn the keys on, hit function. This is where you need two hands. So you hit function right here, and then the num up key, which is the 8 key. And as you can see, you really can't see, but I could see it. The keys are now very dimly lit. And now we can go another step, and now they're a little brighter. And now this is the maximum brightness, if you could see. So I'm going to zoom in. I'll show you the brightness of this, the maximum brightness. Whoop. Right there, see? There, you see that? That's the maximum brightness. And I just unplugged it, so we're going to reset in a second. Now that I've plugged the keyboard back in, I want to show you some other features. There is one more mode for the backlighting that a lot of people will find interesting. I used it a lot just because it's fun to look at. So once you're at the brightest setting, don't unplug itself. Don't unplug itself. Here it goes. One more up, and then you'll see this start to breathe. It's called the breathing mode. So let me see if I can zoom in and show you this without unplugging it again. So if you could see, it'll get brighter and darker. Now let's see if I can show you the num key. See, it's like off right now. So in a little bit, it'll just start to come back on, get to the full brightness, and then breathe back off. That's all being done by the keyboard itself. No software needed. I want to show you another interesting part about this. If you have the orange keys that you replaced, you'll notice that, let me just put this on full brightness. I'm going to turn the keyboard upside down so I don't unplug this. You'll notice that the key, here let me zoom in, I'll show you a little bit better. You'll notice that the keys actually shine through. They're more or less translucent, unlike the black keys that are very opaque. The orange ones you can see right through. So you'll actually see a lot more color out of this, and that's great when you're actually in a game and you need to find the keys. However, I'm sure that most gamers pretty much know where the WASD keys are these days. But it's still a nifty little feature that the keys are slightly translucent, so you can actually see the light pouring through them. Looking at the bottom of the keyboard, you basically have rubber feet, nice big rubber feet, and if you want, you have the keyboard stands, which I don't recommend using because it's basically putting your wrist at a improper angle. Your wrist should be neutral, not up. So the rubber feet really prevent it from moving around that much, and it works great on like an actual desk instead of a really slippery surface like this is. But the rubber really grips, and that's really good when you have a gaming keyboard. Another thing that I really like about this keyboard is that it's fairly flat on the surface. Now I know a lot of people like to type with their wrists up like this. They put the feet on the keyboard and then their wrists are basically up like this. That's not good for your wrists. You want to keep your wrists at a neutral angle. So basically like flat. This flatness allows for this angle to be a lot more neutral than it would have been if you have the keyboard raised. So remember, save your wrists. You don't want carpal tunnel. You don't want any repetitive stress injuries. Keep the keyboard as flat as possible and get used to it. Rosewill actually makes a bunch of variants of this keyboard. They make one with MX blue switches, they make one with blue backlighting. That's why they have these weird model numbers like XRBR. That means MX brown switches with red backlighting. You can get MX blue switches with blue backlighting and a whole bunch of other combinations. They also make another model that doesn't have the gaming macro functionality that this keyboard has. So if you don't need that, or if you're on Linux or something, just buy the one that doesn't. I think it's the 9000 series that doesn't have that. But yeah, just go on Amazon. You'll see it's probably slightly cheaper, and then you can buy that one instead. We've checked around for prices on this keyboard right now, and Amazon is actually selling this for $85. $85 is a pretty damn good deal for something of this level of quality. The keys feel nice. They have a nice rubbery feel, even though they're pretty much just plastic. The keys that you can actually pull out and then pop the replacement ones in there, really nice feature. They're nice and translucent. The breathing mode, all this stuff, the backlights that you can buy in red or blue, all that stuff is really, really nice to actually buy on a keyboard. Now, yes, it's not a Logitech product, and you know that I love Logitech products. However, I can tell you that Rosewill makes a really, really nice product as well. So I have no problem recommending them. Like I say, with every input device review, most of these things are going to be subjective. So if you can figure out how to try this before you buy it, that's great. But for $85, if you have limited space, this is a no-brainer. Really, this is a no-brainer. Keyboard feels great. It fits in the same space as a regular standard keyboard does. And you actually get the mechanical keyboard. Really, positive stuff here. ASE Labs and ASE Publishing would like to thank Rosewill for sending the Apollo Gaming Keyboard for a review. You can check out links on ASE Labs and in the description below for links to purchase this product, probably from Amazon since it's $85 right now. For ASE Labs and ASE Publishing, I'm Aaron Schatz, and thank you for watching. You see this subscribe button right here? Yeah, it's calling for you. It's saying you should hit me. And when you do hit that button, you'll be informed of all of our video content as we post them. Also, like I said in the beginning, if you want to see the text summary of this video review, it's in the description below. You can also go to aselabs.com, and we have all these video reviews in their text summary. And you can also watch it at ASE Labs. So if you still have RSS, you can hit the RSS feed on ASE Labs, and all these reviews will show up as well. If you hit the subscribe button right here, and you're on YouTube, boom, you'll be informed of all of our video content as we post it. It's a win-win for everybody. By the way, love to hear some feedback from you, so please post some comments. You can go to the forums at ASE Labs, or you can stay on YouTube and post some comments in there. We'd love to hear from you. We respond to most of them as long as they're nice. We can take criticism too. But I can tell you that a lot of people post some really weird things on YouTube. So as long as you're normal and you want to post questions or criticisms, have at it. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you in the next one.